I, 23 female, recently got engaged to Jim, 25 male. We don't like super extravagant weddings, so we plan to keep things simple and frugal. We received money from our families, but we're using it for a nice honeymoon and using our own bank accounts for the wedding day. Although the title may make it seem otherwise, my stepmother Kim and I have a good relationship. She gave me a hefty amount of money and asked that I use it for a dress. She said that she was very poor at the time of her first wedding and didn't get to wear a beautiful dress on her big day, and it would mean the world for me to get to wear one. I obliged. I wasn't planning on spending my own money on an expensive dress, but the amount of money she gave me is the opportunity to wear my dream dress. She even took me dress shopping along with my grandmother and helped me pick the most perfect dress. It was a classic fit and flare, and with all the money, I was able to get some custom embroidery done. Not only was it a beautiful dress, but it flattered my body perfectly. A few days after I picked out the dress, however, Kim approached me and asked me if I would like to wear her mother's old wedding dress from the 1970s, and said she'd give me twice the money she had initially offered to do whatever I pleased with if I agreed. I turned her down. I know it's a lot of money, but the wedding will be a day I remember for the rest of my life, and I really wanted to wear a dress that suits me. The dress in question was puffy with no shape. It would be like getting married in a down jacket. When I said no, Kim explained that she sent a photo of me in the dress to my stepsister, Bay, 25 female, and Bay had a freak out and said she wouldn't come to my wedding if I wore that dress. Some background on Bay. Our relationship was strained from the beginning. I had better grades than her, dated better-looking guys, went to a more prestigious college, got a higher-paying job, and now I'm getting married to the guy we both liked in high school while she's still single. Plus, Bay is overweight and very insecure about how she looks, and has always taken out her insecurities on me. Kim said watching me get married to Jim would be hard enough, and I didn't need to wear a dress like that and make it worse. I still refused to wear the old dress. I told her I'm not going to compromise my wedding to coddle Bay's insecurities. She then asked for her money back, and I said no. She gave me the money, and the dress is already paid for. I left it at that, but then I got a call from my dad telling me I was rude to Kim and Bay, and that I should be able to compromise a small thing about an otherwise perfect wedding for Bay's sake, or at least pay Kim back the money for the dress. I did give her back the leftover money, which was a couple $100, but I refused to give back the money I spent on my dress, or wear a different dress. Am I the a-hole for that? Not the a-hole. Bay's request is ridiculous, and Kim should have shut it down rather than leaving the onus on you. Why did Kim even send the picture when she knew about the crappy relationship and how jealous she is? She created the problem alone, and now wants to punish OP. You can't gift money and then demand it back for a situation you knew of beforehand. Bay also actually says indirectly, Bay can't see you wearing a beautiful dress, so please wear the ugly dress, which I hated so much wearing back then. Not the a-hole. I would uninvite Bay actually. She will ruin the wedding. And why have someone there who doesn't support you and the groom? Not the a-hole. Everything you said here is right. You shouldn't cater to her insecurities. Also, a gift is a gift. She gifted you the money. She can't take it back. That being said, right is more than one thing here. If you don't do something, you will suffer throughout the planning process and maybe the wedding. You should pay her back. If you don't, her money will be tied to your wedding forever. She will think she can boss you around. In this case, she's already trying to with the dress. Pay her back and be done with it. You'll still never hear the end of it because of her daughter's insecurities, but you won't add fuel to the fire with the financial part. I have an ex-wife, Amber, who I have 3 children with. They're 17, 15, and 12. We divorced 4 years ago. Before the divorce, we would take a trip to Disney World and Universal every year. My family did this as well with me as a kid. I brought the ex along. It was good for our relationship at the time and healing that bitterness to be better for our kids. I, of course, footed the bill. After that, virus hit, and we did not get to go the following years. Now in present time, I've remarried and so has my ex. My stepchildren are 6 and 8, prime ages for Disney. The youngest just turned 6 and said Disney was what he wanted to do for his birthday. I said great, and told the kids about my little tradition, and that we can do it every year if they want. Not even for a birthday. We will go this early in the year so Princeton can get his wish. I do not mention the trip to Amber. My stepfamily and I go and have a wonderful time. I post the pictures on Facebook and Instagram when we return home, captioning it, "Keeping up the last name, family tradition. Disney is on the itinerary every year once more." I suddenly got a call from Amber, stating that our 12-year-old saw the posts and felt that I was cutting them out of my life. I said I would talk to her about it personally, but Amber continues to berate me though, saying that I should have invited her family on the trip. I didn't have to invite Jamie, her new husband, but to exclude her and my real family is just a real jerk move, especially when it's our tradition. I reminded her that 1, it's not our tradition, it's my family's, And I took care of the kids for about a week in January when her stepkids, and her husband went on a trip to Florida. How is that okay? She has majority custody of the kids. How is she blatantly and purposefully not excluding them there? She told me that I didn't know what I was talking about, and that it was a trip for our children had no business being on because it was mainly for a family reunion of Jamie. I vented about this to my wife, and she said that next time we can include my children. We just need some financial help from her end. We can split it half and half. I told this to my ex-wife, and she blew up on me, stating that she didn't trust that wench to look after her kids, and demanded she be invited and that all expenses be paid by me, since it's my trip, and that they are my guests. I once again reminded her that she actually did trust her a month ago when it was convenient for her, and she hung up on me. Family has been distant towards me recently. Some bring up the situation in conversation and tell me how easy it is to fix the situation and just to invite them. Why is it my responsibility to give her and my kids an all-expense-paid vacation? I don't mind taking the kids along with some assistance from her and Jamie, but to bring her along too, and for free. Does that make me an a-hole? Do I really owe them? Everyone sucks here. If it's your family tradition and you don't include your biological kids, you're the largest a-hole I've seen in a while. Your ex is an a-hole for trying to come along when she isn't your wife anymore, although one could argue she will always be a part of your family as the mother of your children. I don't know why you felt the need to do this, or to think it was anything other than a jerk move. Apologize to your 12-year-old and take them to Disney this year because that's your tradition, and it doesn't have to wait for a special occasion. There's no clearer way to tell your kids that you found a replacement family. That's also the reason why you're still the a-hole if you split the cost with Amber next year. If you're paying for your stepchildren, what about their dad, by the way? You have to pay in full for your own children, too. If you can't afford it, do the trips every 2 years instead. Remember that at the end of the day, Amber is just the messenger. It's your kids that are actually affected here. You would be the a-hole if you invited your kids, but said your ex had to pay for them. Make your current wife pay for her kids, and you pay for yours. Why do your kids suddenly have to miss out because you have 2 stepchildren? Make their mother and father pay for them. This is your trip. If you can't afford to take them all, then don't go, but you don't exclude your actual children. God, don't be surprised when they go low contact with you because they feel you've replaced them. My sister was a total tomboy growing up, which caused a lot of problems with our parents, in particular our dad. I think he always wanted a girly girl, and she was like a boy in every way except biologically. They didn't have a good relationship and fought all the time. Our dad would make remarks about her not taking care of her appearance and running around all day and tanning dark in the process. My room was directly next to the living room, and I could listen to my parents complaining to each other about my sister's future and how no one would want to marry her because she's nothing like a girl. Then my sister wanted to be a geologist, like my dad, and wanted to study geology in uni. She always loved rocks and collected rocks growing up. Our dad told her geologists got laid off all the time, and the pay sucked, to try to get her to choose something else. She was convinced to do teaching, probably because it was a female profession, but after first year, she dropped out because she hated it. Then she took a year off and got involved with a tech startup, loved it, and went back to university to do a degree in computer science. Our parents told her they would pay for the year of education degree she did, but they wouldn't pay for the computer science degree because they had some financial problems. A year after she graduated, I started a degree in geology, and our parents said they would pay for my entire degree. This is a few months after they told her they couldn't pay for her degree, so she had to pay off her loans herself. I knew it was probably because they didn't like her profession, but didn't say anything until she asked. She did probably because the same suspicions as me. Our parents always said we were guaranteed our undergrad paid for, and as soon as she did a computer science degree, they go back on their word? Lots of stuff happened, but long story short, they fought about it for a while until my sister told them she will never talk to them again and cut her out of their lives. My mom knows I told her because no one else knows. She thinks that I'm intentionally ruining their relationship. But they never took her threat seriously until she got engaged and I got an invite to my sister's wedding and they didn't. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I am getting college paid for and she isn't? Probably because she's doing a degree they didn't want her to? Hang on, I'm confused. You said she wanted to do geology, but your a-hole dad persuaded her against it. But now they will fully pay for your geology degree? What's changed in the market for your dad's opinions on layoff and poor pay to change so suddenly? Not the a-hole. By the way, you did your sister a favor. You freed her from any guilt she likely had on cutting your parents off, as this would likely have been bubbling for a while. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing. At least now she has a family member she can trust. Your parents didn't care about the relationship in the first place, or else they wouldn't treat her this way or lie to her. So don't let them guilt you for the natural consequences of their actions. It's absolutely not your fault. Not the a-hole, but your parents are huge a-holes, and I feel so sorry for your sister. It sounds like they've put her down her whole life and disrespected her a lot. As long as you weren't telling her to brag and rather to be honest with her, then I don't think you are an a-hole. That said, you could do more to stand up for your sister. No one deserves to be picked on by their own parents. I, 26 male, have always protected and stuck my neck out for my little sister, 25 female, but she has a toxic case of baby syndrome. There are 5 of us, with the oldest being 35. The past 2 years, she's been reckless, irresponsible, immature, all of the above, disrespectful. She'll send 10-page letters cussing you out and then block you before you can reply, basically reverted back into a teenager. 9 months ago, she needed a place to stay to get her life back on track after a bad relationship. Her credit is ducked, can't rent, can't lease, and I had an extra room, so I let her stay. She manipulated me into moving out so she can do her own thing, grow up, become an adult. So I left. It put me in a bad financial spot, but I did it for her. I told her as long as she was responsible, kept up with the bills, we'd be good, no eviction. She got a repossession on my credit some years back when I helped her with a car, as well as our brothers, so this was going to be my straw. She agreed because she was planning on moving her best friend and girlfriend in, so now 3 people splitting the bills. Cool. I had nothing to worry about. The money's there. She alone brings in $7,000 a month. Why should I worry? Come to find out, rent was 3 months behind. She had changed all the contact info in the portal, so I was getting no notification. Keep in mind, this whole time we had been hanging out and seeing each other working on rebuilding our relationship. She had been looking me straight in the eyes, lying to me, telling me things were paid. And I kept telling her, okay, I trust you because you want everyone to treat you as an adult. Lights cut off, just everything behind. She'd been getting the police called over there numerous times for domestic reasons. When the leasing office finally got a hold of me, it was a mess. So now I'm trying to clean it all up. $7,000 is what I now owe. She has no intent on paying or helping, especially since she just got herself fired because she thinks she's too good to work. Works underneath older sister, so always had job security. So now she's in cosmetology school. The apartment is damaged. Between the drama and the lies, she doesn't think this is all that serious. She even got arrested for the first time during one of those domestic calls. I picked her up driving in a snowstorm. She yelled at me as soon as she came through the doors. I'm sick of her. I don't want me and my girlfriend getting stuck paying this. We can't afford it. So I researched. I can file a small claim case for property less than $20,000. She scammed the military, so she gets a 90% check that I would love to have garnished since she just blows it on BS anyways. I'm always cleaning her messes up. We all are. I want to show her that she can't keep screwing people over and getting away with it. I want my money. So am I the a-hole for suing my little sister? Not the a-hole. She needs to learn some responsibility and accountability. And she's never going to do that if she keeps getting babied. It's not your responsibility to keep getting walked all over for the sake of the relationship. Not the a-hole, but you are an enabler. I also would expect to sever all ties with your sister once this goes down. I find it interesting she brings in $7,000 a month, and she happened to incur a $7,000 in damage estimates. Also, if you don't have any of your agreement in writing, I think you can kiss the legal case goodbye. I hope you learned your lesson. Just remember, no good deed goes unpunished. Not the a-hole. You've been screwed by her financially before, but you invited her to do it again. Are you finally going to learn? I love my sister dearly and have grown to really appreciate my relationship with her over the years. However, she married a guy who often talks her into doing things that are unnecessary. He has had her work full-time jobs so he can stay home and build a barbecue business for years that never took off. More recently, my sister was returning home from her job when she was involved in a serious auto accident. She was hospitalized for a couple of days for observation and missed a week or so of work, but was otherwise okay. The other driver was at fault and assumed responsibility, and their insurance made a more than generous offer to my sister to help get their life back on track. However, her husband, my brother-in-law, decided to get an ambulance-chasing lawyer and talk my sister into suing the company that the other driver works for close to $1 million. Keep in mind that there were no D or alcohol involved, and the other driver had also just finished her shift at her job and was going home as well. My partner and I do not agree with this, nor do we think it's necessary to sue. My sister barely graduated high school, so she was likely never going to make $1 million in her whole life. Additionally, her lawyer told her not to go back to work until the lawsuit is settled. So they have now lost their home, and much of what they own is being repossessed due to non-payment. Their son, my nephew, refuses to come home from college because he's so embarrassed at their situation. My sister wants support for them to continue this lawsuit, and my partner and I are not on board. We think it is cruel to the other driver to not just settle and move on, And it's unethical to sue the other driver's employer for something they had no control over. Am I the a-hole for not supporting their frivolous lawsuit? Not the a-hole. Stay as far away from this as possible. Your sister and brother-in-law are seeing this as a cash grab. The lawsuit will more than likely be thrown out or dismissed in court. No D or alcohol were involved. The other driver and insurance assumed responsibility and paid out. You can love someone but not like their choices. This is one of those times. If this is what they are choosing to do, let the consequences of their choices fall where they may. Just had an accident a few weeks ago. Rammed twice by a work truck. Other driver never took responsibility and drove off. Hit and run. My lawyer stated quite clearly, try to avoid going a lawsuit until all other avenues are exhausted, and to not settle until it is certain everything has been dealt with, so you don't get screwed over. Not the a-hole, as it sounds like the husband has dollar signs in his eyes, and they got a lawyer who is quite unscrupulous. Just don't punish the kids for the parents' mistakes. Not the a-hole. What grounds do they have to sue the company? If the other driver was not using a company car and was not leaving some work event with alcohol, I don't see how there could be a case against the company. Maybe the settlement from insurance wasn't enough, but going bankrupt trying to sue a company is ill-advised.